Hey, this is Chris. In this video, I want to talk about Harrison Butker's commencement speech that's kind of been making the rounds. Actually, this was a request from somebody who subscribes to the channel who happens to know me in real life. She asked that I would think about commenting on this commencement speech because of the stir that it has kind of caused in our broader society. So I did watch the speech, and as I was watching it, one of the things that struck me was that this speech is by a man who is a practicing Roman Catholic speaking to an audience that chose of their own free will to attend a Roman Catholic college, and that Roman Catholic college happens to be promoting a more traditional version of Catholicism. Traditional Roman Catholics and many experiences I've had are about the same as Fundamentalist Protestants. Very concerned about preserving the traditions and not wandering from the traditions of the church. And so what I heard in this speech was somebody very zealous to preserve the traditional teachings and practices of the Roman Catholic Church to an audience of people going to a college promoting the traditional practices and teachings of the Roman Catholic Church. So with that in mind, I wanted to just talk about a few observations. I'm going to put the speech in the description below. So those of you that want to look can look in the description below, and there'll be a link to the speech. One of the things I noticed several things. One is that this probably is not going to play well with more progressive Roman Catholics. There is a theological spectrum and a practice spectrum in any Christian tradition, and in fact, in any religious tradition whatsoever. You can go to even the non-Christian religions, and there is a theological a spectrum of belief and practice where on the one side is kind of a cultural version to say, I'm Christian by culture, I'm Roman Catholic by culture, this is my culture, this is who I am, going to the Mass, Christmas and Easter, and those kinds of things. And I self-identify as Roman Catholic, although I don't necessarily believe in all the teachings of the church. I don't accept fully the authority of the church, and I'm basically living my own life the way I want to live, and but I still want to be part of this tradition and identify as a tradition. That's more on the progressive side. On more of the traditional side, you have people that highly elevate the teachings of the church, the Roman Catholic Church, and the practices of the church, and all that. And so they're saying, no, this is how I really want to shape my life and base my life, and this stuff is very, very important to me. Well, when somebody like Harrison Butker, who is a traditional Catholic, a fundamentalist vein kind of Roman Catholic, is speaking, the broader Catholic community, many of whom may be progressive or some scale in between traditional and progressive, is going to find that some of the things that he says are very challenging because they are butting up against a lot of things that people believe and feel, and it can give this air that you're not a true Catholic unless you think the way I do. And he's a young man, and he's very confident in his beliefs, and he is expressing his convictions about the priesthood, about roles of men and women, about pro-life issues. And these are deeply held religious convictions that he has. I could see that he is speaking directly to the audience and sharing those convictions, which I'm guessing he was invited as a speaker because the leadership of the college agrees with a lot of his positions, like the Latin Rite Mass and all of that. So he's there speaking to people that I think would be in general agreement with what he is saying. Yet again, the broader audience might hear things different. Me, as a Protestant, as I was hearing him speak, and being familiar with Roman Catholic teaching, recognize that there are a number of points where I would disagree with him, where I feel that what he was saying is not most accurately reflected in the teaching of Scripture. So I would disagree, yet I see him sharing his conviction to a group who were receiving that conviction, and still recognizing that some Catholics would take it the wrong way. Many other Christians might take what he is saying, not agreeing with it and not supporting it. And I can certainly understand in the broader culture how much of what he said could be very offensive to differing views on the roles of men and women, on marriage, on parenting, on contraception, childbirth, abortion, all these things, and these are hot button issues. Yet, I think, I guess what I've been thinking a lot about lately is we've got to back away from some of these culture war things, where there's winners and losers, where we want to blow somebody up or cancel them or whatever because their beliefs don't line up with ours. And both sides do it. I see just as much cancel culture on the right side of the political spectrum as there is on the left side of the political spectrum. We're all trying to cancel everybody that we don't agree with, and we don't want to give anybody liberty. And our feelings, I think, sometimes are just so fragile that we can't handle that somebody has a very different, divergent perspective from us, and we want to shout them down and belittle them and mock them. I heard the speech, and I hear the speech. I'm not here to promote or advocate everything that he says, but I want to put a different perspective on it. He is, again, speaking as a traditional Roman Catholic at a commencement speech by a Roman Catholic college, private college, that is promoting traditional Roman Catholic beliefs and practices to a student body who is graduating from that institution that chose to go to that college that promoted traditional Roman Catholic beliefs and practices. And whether or not you agree with them, you think they're foolish or not, the idea that of valuing marriage and motherhood and all those things, being a stay-at-home mom, all that kind of stuff. If you feel that he's way off base there, and that I think is something that you have liberty to believe. He has liberty to believe. People have liberty to say and believe these things. And we could talk about how we disagree with them, but I don't think it's really productive for us to invest so much emotional hatred or disgust in opposing views that are very different from ours, because I don't think it's getting us anywhere. I don't think these culture wars between the right and the left, conservative, progressive, I don't think they're getting us anywhere as a society. And as a Christian, what I want, as somebody who is in the evangelical tradition, or evangelical as it traditionally understood, I've been abandoned. Evangelicalism today is not what it was. Basically, my tradition has abandoned me, and I think Harrison Butker is feeling the same way, that his Roman Catholic tradition is abandoning him and other traditional Catholics. Yeah, we can feel abandoned by our tradition and speak out strongly about our convictions and those kinds of things. But I guess I kind of understand what he's saying and where he's coming from. In the sense of wanting to address his own religious tradition and sharing his convictions about that, because I'm doing the same thing to the evangelical tradition. But the thing is, what we need is liberty instead of these winners and losers in these culture wars. That traditional Roman Catholics with Roman Catholic beliefs and practices are free to do that, as long as there is no criminal activity involved in that, murder, child abuse, those kinds of things. Same thing for evangelical Protestants and Protestants in general and the Orthodox. What we want, I think, in a culture is we begin to talk more about having the liberty and the freedom to practice our faith, or to practice no faith. The freedom to have very progressive ideas or very conservative ideas and just say, you know what, I have my deeply held convictions about what's right and what's wrong, and I think that group is crazy. I don't agree with them. I think they're foolish. I think they're silly. But we still say, you know what, for the sake of my liberty to believe and practice how I want, I'll let the other person have liberty to believe and practice how they want. I think that's how it works better in American culture, because if we go the culture war route, what I'm realizing is that there's winners and losers. And one of the things that I think my Christian brothers and sisters aren't recognizing is that we are in the minority in American culture now. And chances are very good that in a culture war, we're going to lose. And we're going to build so much ill will on the side of the victors that they'll just want to take all of our liberty and freedom away. It's a two-edged sword, this culture war. We think we're fighting to win. But what if we don't? What if Christianity is not the culturally dominant religion in the United States going forward in the future? And we, instead of promoting liberty and freedom and building that into our society so that we have the liberty and the freedom to practice as the scripture teaches us to practice, all of a sudden we're in this situation where the victors, who are not us, say, no, we're not going to let you do that. And I think we've really got to think through this. And I would say to those who are deeply offended by Harrison Butker's speech is just recognize where he's coming from, recognize who his audience is. And you might think it's silly and foolish, but let him have liberty to believe what he wants to believe without having fear of being canceled and shut out of society, and let the college believe what it wants to believe and the students that go there believe what they want to believe, and have those beliefs and allow people to believe that. And I really do think that will be more helpful for us going forward. Because we're creating all these controversies on both sides, and the thing is I get it that social media is really driving a lot of this, because you want to get views, and that's why I have such mixed feelings even about my own YouTube channel. Is I don't want to be so driven by views and so driven by making money that I'm willing to throw anything up there just to try to get views or try to shock people into watching my channel. But a lot of channels and a lot of people are doing that. They're making money off of creating division, of creating polarization. They're making money by stirring the pot and making people outraged. Actually, outrage is a business in the United States now, thanks to social media. And I think at some point we just have to say, we are not going to be consumers of outrage anymore. We are going to be thoughtful, citizens in the United States, and as Christians say we're going to be thoughtful Christians. We're going to understand where we are in this world, understand our primary gospel mission, and recognize that not everybody's going to like us or agree with us, and some people are going to hate us and despise us, but we're not going to participate in this culture of outrage. We're not going to get so stirred up by everything we see on the internet, like this Harrison Butker speech. You can see things on the progressive side that somebody gives a speech or something, and we're so shocked that as somebody is at a CRT convention talking about woke ideology, as if they're not supposed to do that because they're progressives talking about these issues, these social issues. They're progressives talking about LGBTQ issues, and that's just going to happen. That's the audience that they're in, and we might not agree with what they say, but we don't have to be outraged by it. And we can recognize that outrage is a choice. It's something we feed and fill our hearts with, and we want to put away, as Ephesians tells us, this bitterness and wrath and malice towards other people. We want to respond in love even with those that we disagree with. So kind of that's my thought, watching the Harrison Butker speech. I don't want to, I just didn't feel it'd be productive to go for a blow by blow of what I agree with or disagree with as a Protestant, or all these other things. I just don't know that it would be helpful. But I hope maybe this is just helpful to some people and can promote some kind of discussion for all of us to begin thinking about how we respond to others that we disagree with, as they have platforms on social media and other places. And do we want to give into these cultures of outrage? Do we want to not understand or even try to understand and respect other people's perspective? Are we going to just race to cancel them and write them off and have nothing to do with it, instead of having conversations trying to understand why people believe what they believe? I think that would be more productive, but also setting that as a cultural value in our broader culture will benefit us as Christians to be able to openly engage with others and have discussions about beliefs and practices, because we certainly want to be able to do that as Christians, and I think it would be very valuable. And I think non-Christians value it when they understand that we're not just cultural warriors attacking and trying to tear down and destroy somebody's life because we don't agree with them. So let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.